Okay, this is my project on the Legends of Rock and Roll by Michael Reyes. The first person I chose was Robert Johnson. He is known for being the king of Delta blues and is very well known for being an outstanding singer and master guitarist. A bit of background on Robert Johnson is that he was once a very mediocre guitar player. As a kid, he played piano and eventually developed incredible singing skills, but he lacked any real guitar skills. Eventually, he would leave his family to travel to play publicly, learning new skills as he traveled throughout the road. Finally, in less than a year, he returned back home and became a master guitarist, which all eventually led to the famous story that he became a master of the guitar so quickly by selling his soul to the devil. Now, Robert Johnson's contributions to rock and roll was that he was very influential to not only the blues, but the later rock and roll genre as well. He influenced many different musicians, such as Bob Dylan, the Rolling Stones, and Led Zeppelin. Many different bands covered his songs, such as Led Zeppelin's Traveling Riverside Blues and the Rolling Stones' Love in Vain. Robert Johnson had a new technique that was a fuse of his pianist and guitar skills, and would also utilize different guitar skills such as sliding to create a very unique and powerful tone. Now, the second person I chose for early rock and roll was Chuck Berry. Now, Chuck Berry is known for being one of the most influential musicians in rock and roll history, where he helped define a new era of music where he combines the blues and country to create a whole new genre. He was a very enthusiastic and charismatic performer, and where he coins most of his popular dance moves. He gained most of his musical experience when he was young, as he participated in his local church choir and also took music classes in high school. Now, Chuck Berry's contributions to rock and roll were astronomical. He had an entirely new and upbeat attitude, thanks to his combination of blues and country music. He had an entirely new focus where he sang about teenager and consumer culture, which really matches upbeat and positive attitude. He's most definitely one of the most influential musicians that helped develop rock and roll from the blues. He influenced many different bands such as Bruce Springsteen, the Beatles, and the Rolling Stones. Now, how they compare to each other. Both artists influenced and contributed to the unique sound of rock and roll, where Robert Johnson defined and influenced his genre of Delta blues, while Chuck Berry helped combine the blues and country music together to create a whole new foundation for what rock and roll would be in the future. Both musicians influenced many other musicians such as Bob Dylan, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, and the Beatles, and would ultimately lead to many different cover songs that would be put out by them. Um, they both utilize and combines new techniques to help create a new genre, a new tone of music. Johnson's masterful combination of his pianist and guitarist playing skills, and Barry's combination of blues and country, would ultimately lead to the unique sound of rock and roll. So, in conclusion, amongst many others, Robert Johnson and Chuck Berry are both prime examples of artists who were pioneers towards the development of rock and roll. Their unique style and technique led to the new sounds that would go on to define their genres. Without them, rock and roll would not sound and be as diverse as it is today. The two sources I used were a documentary style YouTube video called Artist Who Changed Music, Robert Johnson, the Father of Rock and Roll, and a news publication video called How Chuck Berry Defined the Generation of Rock and Roll. Thank you.